Hello, welcome to my channel. Nine of Pentacles today, and the Kate Bush song choice I think is a particularly sort of poignant perspective on this card, and one of my favourite songs. I'm not going to spend too long talking about the actual card today because I've got a couple of other sort of non-tarot related things I wanted to quickly show you, which I think also add an interesting perspective to this energy. So, Nine of Pentacles. Traditional interpretation would be financial success, a sort of kind of financial independence. We've worked hard from the Eight of Pentacles, and now we can kind of relax and enjoy ourselves and enjoy our wealth and the stability. Looking forward maybe to that Ten of Pentacles, and even thinking then of who can benefit from our wealth and our family and inheritance and such forth. But with the tarot, I like to kind of take a more spiritual perspective. I don't read the tarot for fortune telling. I read the tarot to try and understand myself better, to try and understand the world better. And I think to remind myself of a spiritual perspective to the world, because I know that that's good for my mental health. And it's a good counterbalance to everything else that is going on in the world at the moment, I think, to remind ourselves of that and to kind of ground ourselves in different values. So she's outside, she's enjoying nature. So there's definitely an enjoyment of all material things. It doesn't have to be just man-made things, of course. Our beautiful planet can be about that as well. I think also, this is associated with Virgo, and Virgo, I mean, it's a 9, so it's associated with the Hermit anyway, and also Virgo is associated with the Hermit. So there definitely is a spiritual perspective to this, which I will go onto in a minute. The only other thing I was going to say, which is quite interesting, I think, is with the coins, we're in earth signs. So our other two earth signs are Capricorn, which is associated with 2, 3 and 4 of Pentacles, and Taurus, which is associated with the 5, 6 and the 7. And I was thinking about, it's quite interesting, I think, to bring into the mix the idea of how those different signs treat money. So for me, and this is about the archetypes, it just doesn't mean that every Capricorn is like this by any means, but it's just this is what the archetype means. So the Capricorn archetype, I think the pursuit of money is about the pursuit of power. So as soon as you have money, you have influence. You are the person that people go to. You hold this, not just the purse strings, but the strings for everything, don't you? So there is that sense of ambition. I think for Taurus, it is more about, well, you know, my Venus is in Taurus, so I'm saying it from this perspective as well. But I think for the Taurus, it's more about what pleasure money can buy. So, you know, nice things, nice food, nice experiences. And if you're Taurus, what you fear is that kind of physical hardship, that the discomfort, the physical discomfort, I think, especially the being poor brings, which is really beautifully drawn here in the Rider-Waite in the 5 of Pentacles. But also, as I said, there's that emotional feeling of being an outsider as well, which can also come with poverty. So I think for Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which is all about thinking and thoughts. And so like Gemini, they can, which is also ruled by Mercury, they can get very anxious, and we're also alone, so this is a solitude. So all the 9s, there's this danger of anxiety coming in, you know. And I think what the Virgo wants really from money, rather than power or necessarily even the material comforts and pleasure, what Virgo, I think, is motivated by is a sense of security, a way to allay that worry. But of course, that is almost impossible. Well, that is impossible. We can't really ever get the security that we want, that is promised by material wealth. Doesn't come. However rich we are, however successful we are, however important we are, we're still vulnerable to the same things, still vulnerable to loss, still vulnerable to death, either ourselves or those close to us, still, vulnerable to relationship breakdowns and all the other heartbreaks that can happen in life. And so there's a danger of trying to pursue this as a permanent state of security and stability, and then we become overcautious. There's leads to sort of hoarding and anxiety and worry. So I'm going to find the right page for this because I forgot to mark it in the book. But this is just a book that I just ordered quite recently. And I think it's wonderful, actually. It is an anthology of poetry, and I know it's all very kind of personal with the choice of poetry, but I really like, there's quite a lot of Zen sort of poet, a lot of Chinese and Japanese poets in here. And it's an interesting mix, it's not what you normally get. But it's all through this kind of lens of the idea that reading and writing poetry can be a spiritual practice. It can teach us how to live. And anyway, what I wanted to find, let me just quickly, so I'll put this here, let me just quickly find it, flick through and find it. There was this lovely story which really influenced, I think, this idea of how once we recognise the impermanency of things, that this is only like, this is the present moment, it's not going to last forever, that we then appreciate even more our life and what we have. So this is, right, so he says, in the trauma, so you can see my underlines here as well. In the trauma of everyday life, the Buddhist psychotherapist Mark Epstein tells a story about asking the great Thai forest monk Ajahn Chah to explain the Buddhist view, and then Chah held up a glass of water and said, right, so this is what I wanted to read. I love this glass. It holds the water admirably. When the sun shines on it, it reflects the light beautifully. When I tap it, it has a lovely ring. Yet for me, this glass is already broken. When the wind knocks it over or my elbow knocks it off the shelf and it falls to the ground and shatters, I say, of course. But when I understand that this glass is already broken, every minute with it is precious. So I love that. I think that's pretty amazing, and it's true. I think it's being able to hold that pleasure of having something, but also that sadness of knowing that it won't last, and whatever that is, whether that is an experience, an object, like in the example, or even a person, and how that can actually lead to a deeper appreciation rather than taking things for granted. The other thing that I wanted to show you quickly, and then I will get on to the Kate Bush song, I promise, is this. I saw an unboxing of this actually. I think there's only one usually, so I'll try and link that. This is a box. It's supposed to be sort of for cards for sort of creative thinking and stuff actually. So it's not really an oracle, but you could use it as an oracle deck. There is, I think there's over 100 cards in the deck. It only costs about £15. I think it's really good value. And I've got the cards raised like this now, but this is, I've put the cards in colour order. So they're all the different colours here. You see how attractive it is. They're all like photos. Some of them are pretty abstract. And they have what she calls suits. So we have, oh, I've just dropped half of them. Right, I'll sort that out in a minute. Let me do the yellow. That's pretty curious. Right, so we've got circle, squares, triangles, lines, texture, nature, reflections, and shadows. And then on each of these, behind each of these, is like a little prompt or a question or a line. So we have give them a clue, throw it out, which these could be like Oracle. Go for an unpopular choice just to see. Trace it back. Embrace imperfection. On a walk, follow your nose. Follow yellow. And clarify. So they could be, any kind of context. The one that if I haven't dropped it, yes, here it is. I had this one actually. This is one of the, because I've only just got this deck, so this is what the first one I pulled, and it's all these reflections, and it's like a layers of photographs. You can't really see what's happening, and then it says, "Can you see yourself?" And I actually spent about a good 5-10 minutes having a look to see all the different. And there are a few figures in here when you look closely. There's someone walking on the sidewalk. There seems to be a shadow. There's a hand that I can sometimes see, and then sometimes it disappears. But I was also thinking about, what is that? What do we see ourselves in? Do we see ourselves just in the mirror? Do we see ourselves in the environment and what is around us? And she says in the introduction, there is a little book that goes with it as well. She says that it's deliberately, the pictures are, like abstract, or there's deliberate obscurity. You have to sort of think about them and work them out. But I think what is lovely about them, and why it relates to this card, I'm not going on a complete off in a tangent, is the idea of looking around in your environment and just seeing things and appreciating them. I think this is really related to appreciation, this card, which happens to be my word of the year and something that I'm really trying to do. But not just appreciating the big things. But, she's got a bird. It's a falcon, isn't it? So it's trained But I think what I'm trying to say is it doesn't have to be a falcon. It can be quite a small thing. It could be just a bird you hear or see. It's all the things that we can see around us that are, many of which are fleeting, are not going to be around in a few years' time. And, then we think about climate change and everything that's happening to the world, how much of any of this is going to be around. So, but what I'm saying is that needn't be a negative thing. I think the message is that can be something that helps us deepen our appreciation, realizing the mortality and the impermanency of what is around us, which is exactly what the Kate Bush song choice is about. So this is from the Red Shoes album, and it is Moments of Pleasure. I really like this picture of her with her cat. I know I could have chosen, and I will link, there's a lovely, I think it was on Aspel, which used to be a BBC kind of programme, of her playing the piano and performing this in the studio. But I I've got a tabby cat. And actually I used to have another tabby cat called Pushkin, who really reminds me of Pushkin, this cat. So, and poor Pushkin's gone. So that's a reminder of me, for me as well, about, the impermanency of things. But I also try to, this looks a little bit like the Wheel of Fortune card that I did. So that sort of swirls and that sense of we're in the centre of the circle, we're centre of that moment, but things are always moving, change is inevitable, etc. What I found quite interesting when I looked up about this song on katebushencyclopedia.com is that I always thought that this was written after her mother died, because she lists all the people that she's lost, and she's, you know, the memories of times she's enjoyed with him and stuff. But actually, her mum was sick while she was recording the album, recording this song, and then she died soon afterwards. So I think it became especially poignant. I mean, imagine, for example, in the performance that I will link, that the mother had already died. And I think there's such, I mean, in a way, I say that and I think, like, when did she know her mum was going to die? I just think with my mum, we had about 6 months where she was very ill and we knew she was going to die. And to me, her death started at that point. It didn't start, you know, it started before her actual death. Whereas my dad died suddenly, so that was a very different experience of death. But anyway, that whole kind of loss informs that album, and her relationship with Del Palma was finishing as well, and all those things kind of inform it. And it is an album that I have used a lot in this tarot deck because I think it has got that. It's not one of my favourite Kate Bush albums. I like some of the songs, don't like all of them. I think that Dreaming is possibly my favourite album as a whole, as a set, and Hands of Love I love too. But, well, I know I love lots of them. I'm going to start listing them all. But this isn't on my top 3 Kate Bush albums, but it is incredibly, it's got so many spiritual messages in it. It has been fantastic for this. Anyway, that's it, I think. Have a lovely day today. Wishing you lots of that 9 of Pentacles energy. And if you have any comments about any of this, please always let me know what you think. Thanks as always for watching. Goodbye.